This is the iFlight BumbleBee HD, and it's probably the most fun I've had with a drone in a very long time. And that is mostly because of the type of shots that you can get with this tiny little beast, because of the places that you can get to, and just generally the type of flying experience that you get with a Cinewoop like this. It's something very different, and it's something that for me is a lot of fun. So in today's video, I want to share my impressions of flying this iFlight BumbleBee HD for the past couple of days. I've tried it in a couple of different scenarios, different situations, different places, because I wanted to see how it's going to cope with my type of flying and the type of footage that I'm trying to get. But with that being said, let's just focus on a few specs, because I know many of you would be interested to know what type of motors this drone has, what type of ESC flight controller, and everything else this drone has to offer. This one has the air unit inside, and it works with the DJI FPV system. So it works with my DJI FPV goggles, my remote controller, etc. But of course you can also get an analog version of this same quadcopter. It's actually a bit cheaper. If you want to fly analog, you can still purchase a Cinewoop like this and fly it in an analog system. And before anyone asks, I am using a GoPro Hero 6 Black, using the ND filters from Polar Pro, so I can lock my shutter speed to double my frame rate. I'm quite happy with these ND filters from Polar Pro. I use them quite a lot. And I'm also using Real Steady to stabilize my footage. So all the footage that you saw in the intro was stabilized with Real Steady. Link in the description if you want to have a little discount on your Real Steady purchase. So how does it feel to fly a Cinewoop like this? It feels great. This is not my first ever Cinewoop that I tried, but it's my first that I own. And after using it for a bit, you start getting used to the controls. The throttle is of course very different to what a normal freestyle or racing drone feels like. You have to put a lot more stick input so you can get it moving. But once you get used to the controls, this one actually feels super smooth to fly. It doesn't feel too heavy. It doesn't feel wobbly. It doesn't shake around while you're flying. It just feels smooth, and of course that makes sense because this is a bind and fly pre-built configuration from iFlight. But of course you can always connect it to Betaflight and do all of your adjustments the one that you like. But I have to say, this flies smoothly, this feels great in the air, and it doesn't really require any changes in the configuration to make it fly extra smooth. In the past couple of days, I shared a couple of stories on Instagram with this drone, and I had a couple of questions which I quickly want to address. One of them was, how strong are these prop guards? And I have to say they are quite strong. They have this rubberized grip here on the front and on the back as well. So all around the drone you have this really smooth rubber that is actually going to give you an extra layer of protection between the props and these prop guards right here, which you can also buy separately if you want. You can buy some spare ones, because I heard some people have been complaining they are a bit fragile, which I don't think it's the case, to be honest. I crashed a couple of times. I don't think I have seen anything being fragile, but of course it's still early to say because I haven't used this too much yet. But my first impressions after flying with this drone is that it's definitely rigid, it's strong, it doesn't feel cheap at all, and it's actually quite solid in my opinion. So I am using the 4S version of the Cinewoop. They also offer a 6S on their website, but for me 4S, for the type of footage that I want to get, works well. And I also have quite a lot of 4S batteries, and I didn't want to invest into 6S batteries as well. But I think this is going to be quite nice in the future. I might update all of my quads to 6S, but for now I think this gives me all the things that I need from a Cinewoop. Another question which I've been getting recently is, how long does it fly? And I'm using these batteries right here. These are the China Hobbyline 1500 milliamp hours 4S 120C batteries, and they last me for roughly 6 to 7 minutes with a GoPro. But depending on how you're flying, you can extend this flight time a bit more or lower it to 3-4 minutes if you're really pushing the motors a lot. Something else which I want to focus your attention on is how good this camera mount is and how easy it is to actually change your angle, because if you want to, you can simply tilt it forward or backward a bit, and depending on the type of footage that you want to get, sometimes you need more speed, and of course If you're going to fly a bit quicker, then of course you need to adjust your camera angle accordingly. So with this camera mount, you can easily adjust your camera angle in a matter of seconds, and this was quite handy when I had to change the angle when I was chasing my friend on his bike. So if you're getting this drone, I highly recommend you to get it with this flexible camera mount, because it just saves you time and is quite useful compared to a fixed camera mount. Like I said, there are two versions, or should I say 4 versions of this drone. There is a 4S, 6S version, and there's also an analog and a digital version as well. The analog version is $270 if I'm not mistaken. It's on iFlight's website, which I'm going to link below. And this digital version is $399, including the air unit, the antennas, everything to make it work with your HD system. So I think for someone who is looking to get into cinematic flying, this actually makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot more sense than getting a freestyle drone, for example, because of these prop guards. It's safe to fly around people. It doesn't really scare them as much compared to a naked freestyle drone, which has these extremely sharp blades. And this one feels a lot safer to fly around people. It flies a lot slower as well, so it will allow you to capture those shots that otherwise you wouldn't be able to, because it's just a lot more safe and otherwise you would risk too much. Something negative, which I believe is quite common for every Cinewoop out there, is that this thing is quite loud. And speaking about flying close to people, it could be a bit intimidating sometimes, because it kind of sounds like a vacuum cleaner, a very loud one. And I don't really like this fact. Generally, I don't like loud drones at all. And this one doesn't make a very pleasant sound when it flies. And that could be something that is a bit of a deal breaker when you're flying close to people. The only other thing which comes to my mind is the fact that these ports, the ones that are on the air unit and the one that you have on the flight controller, are extremely hard to reach. However, iFlight were nice enough to think about a solution, and that's why they came up with this thing right here. This is a 90-degree connector, which is going to allow you to easily connect a cable to your flight controller without actually having to disassemble the whole quadcopter. It's quite nice that they came up with this solution and they included it in the package, because it's going to save you so much trouble. Every time you want to connect to Betaflight, you will have to disassemble the drone otherwise, but with this you don't have to do it. And that pretty much concludes my impressions of flying the iFlight BumbleBee HD. Like I said, it's my first ever Cinewoop, but I'm so excited about it. It flies beautifully, it's smooth, it's great, and I'm just really happy with it, to be honest. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are excited to see more content with this BumbleBee HD, because I certainly am. I cannot wait to visit more places, the ones that I have in my mind, and capture more cinematic footage with this Cinewoop. Drop a like if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and turn on your bell notifications so you never miss any of my newer uploads. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. I'll catch you in my next one. Ciao.